Hey friends, and welcome back. Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to teach you the difference between loose and strict equality. So what this tutorial is going to be about is us essentially comparing the value of a variable, let's say let age equal to 23, and compare that to check if it's equal to 23, right? And I'm going to show you loose equality with a double equal sign and strict equality uh, with a triple equal sign. So two equal signs is we're testing for equal to, three equal signs is we are testing for basically strictly equal to. So strictly equal to, also known as strict equality. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say hypothetically I'm in college, I'm 23 years old, great year, and my lecturer wants me to pair up with someone of the same age for some reason, right? So we can do a check, right? So we can say we'll say Dara age be equal to 23, hashtag I wish, and we'll say let Jessica age be equal to 23 as well, right? So our lecturer person is basically wants to do a check to see if my age is equal to Jessica's age. Well, they can do a check for that, right? So they can say console.log is Dara age equal to Jessica age. Okay, so what do you think that's going to evaluate to? Well, what I'm doing is I'm saying Dara age is equal to two equal signs Jessica age. Okay, now the two equal signs is um, for the test, right? If you do one equal sign, you're not doing a test, you're actually assigning a value. Okay, so remember that, right? We saw before. Let me just do a multi-line comment here. Apologies. Oh, Derek, come on, what are you doing? Sorry, hon. Okay, so we've seen before how if we use one equal sign, right, that's the assignment operator. Okay, we are essentially assigning, if I can spell, a value to a variable. Okay, so for example, we might have let city equal to Sydney or something like that, right? Hello, Australia, right? Where when you want to do a test, you want to do two equal signs at the minimum. So that is loose equality. Okay, so two equal signs is we're basically checking to see if something is equal to another variable, and we call it loose equality because we're only checking to see if essentially the values are the same. We're not necessarily checking for the data type. I'll explain that in a minute, right? Let's just see what this is equal to. Well, this is going to be true, right? Because my age, let our age equal to 23, that's what we're testing for here. Is that loosely equal to Jessica's age, also 23? Well, that's going to be true, right? Okay, so that's awesome. Now, what were to happen if instead of, me putting 23 here and 23 here, we were to get the input from the user. So like, Dara, what's your age? Okay, we know it's 23. The lecturer doesn't have to ask me that. They just know because they were at my awesome party. Where maybe Jessica, they got user input, right? And we saw that with user input previously, we might get a string, okay? So now I've got a question for you. If we're testing to see if Dara age, my age is equal to 23, if that is loosely equal to Jessica's age, what do you think is going to happen? Well, I'm going to tell you the answer. It's still going to evaluate to true. Loose equality is going to check to see if 23, the number, is equal to 23, the string, and it is actually going to come back with true, right? To prove that to you, let's just save and refresh, and we still get true. And that's because loose equality cares about the values, it doesn't care about the data type. So it's saying the number 23, is that equal to the string 23? Yeah, that's good enough, okay? However, with strict equality, if we add another equal sign, that will now evaluate to false. And let's just save and refresh, and I'll prove this to you. And it evaluates to false. Why is that? Well, loose equality basically only cares that the values are the same. It's checking to see if the values are the same or equal to each other. So in this case, 23 a string and 23 the number, it would come back and say, yeah, they're the same, right? Where strict equality, when using three equal signs, 1, 2, 3, so this is strict equality, this is checking to see if two variables and data types are strictly equal to each other. And what that basically means is, are the data type and the value the same? Equality. So it's going to say, no, 23 the string is not equal to 23 the number because one's a string and one's a number, okay? So for us to get this to evaluate to true here, what we'd have to do is we'd have to change either my age 23 to be a string. So now we're checking to see if the string 23 is equal to the string 23. Let's have a look. That's true. Or what we could do is we could make both of them to be a number. So 23 the number and 23 the number. Okay, so are they equal to each other? Let's have a look. And they are. Okay, awesome. You can also, by the way, you don't need to do variables if you wanted. You could also do a check directly. So we could say, console.log, is the number 10 strictly equal to the number 10? Let's have a look. Well, that should evaluate to true, right? Because they are the same value and the same data type, where, the number 10, would that be equal to the string 10? Well, that will evaluate to false, right? Because they're not the same data type. And let's just prove that to ourselves. Okay, awesome. So basically, strict equality is more powerful because it's testing for both the value and the data type. So when you use a double equal sign, that's loose equality, you're checking that the value of two variables are the same, and that can evaluate to true or false. However, when you use three equal signs or strict equality, you're basically checking that both the value and the data type are the same. Okay, so for this reason, when you see code in a code base, if you become a developer, using three equal signs is more powerful because typically you want to make sure that the data type and the value are equal to each other. Okay, awesome. So guys, that's that tutorial. We've covered loose equality using two equal signs and strict equality. Remember, if you want to check if two variables, evaluate to the same value, you want to use at least two equal signs, because remember, one equal sign, you're not doing a comparison operator. That's the assignment operator. Okay, so if I was to say, let age equal to I don't know, we'll say 30, and then I want to do a check, and then I said, okay, age is equal to 40. I'm not checking if age 30 is equal to the value of 40. What I'm actually doing here is I'm reassigning the value 40 to the variable age. So remember, one equal sign is the assignment operator, okay? And that is when you are assigning, putting a value into a variable. So what I'm actually doing here with one equal sign is I'm reassigning the value of 40 to the age variable, but that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do a check, so I would have to do two equal signs if I wanted to do a loose comparison, or three equal signs if I want to do strict equality. So when people are new to coding, programming, development, etc., it's quite an easy mistake to make for newbies to coding. You often see that where they're trying to compare one variable to another, or one variable to a value, and they use one equal sign instead of two or three. Remember, you're actually reassigning the value. You're not doing a comparison there. Okay, awesome. We'll leave it there for that tutorial. So key takeaway, two equal signs is you're checking to see if two variables are equal to each other under loose equality. So the number 10 would be equal to the string 10, where if you want to use strict equality, you want to use three equal signs. Okay, that's awesome. That's loose and strict equality. I'll see you in the next tutorial.